The iconic river Seine has been the most controversial piece in the Paris Olympics jigsaw puzzle. This was in the lead up to the Games. The pollution, the toxins in the water, and the feasibility, the logistics of making that one of the venues was one of the biggest questions Paris organizers were constantly battling with. And with another training session getting scrapped and the men's triathlon event delayed, the focus has now shifted back to what could be another embarrassing chapter for the Olympics organizers. But let's get to the very beginning of all this. The River Seine has been a bit of a disaster as far as conducting events on it goes. Now we get the logic and the reasoning behind Paris being particular about River Seine. France has organized marquee events of sporting disciplines around various historic landmarks in the city, whether it's the Eiffel Tower, Bercy Arena, Grand Palais, Château de Versailles, and of course, River Seine. Prominent sites to capture the beauty, the tradition, and the historic significance of this country hosting the Games. The intention was noble. The idea was to project France in all its glory, but that has not exactly happened. The opening ceremony, for instance, was held in a grand manner along the river. And yes, River Seine was able to pull that off, but conducting events on it has been a challenge, despite many warning signs. So here's what's prompted authorities to pull the plug on the training session. An early morning inspection showed that the pollution levels in the waters were still very high, too high for athletes to swim in it safely. And that is why Paris authorities could not take any more chances. And look, it isn't just the men's triathlon that is supposed to be organized in the river. The women's triathlon and marathon swimming events too have been scheduled to take place along the river. And if this situation doesn't improve, and all answers point towards the negative, then it doesn't bode well for the Games and its organizers. Here's the worst part. This is not something that has miraculously arisen just on a single day. This has been a concern right since the opening ceremony. The heavy rains over the weekend have increased the pollution levels. But was it just the persistent rain that triggered this situation? I find it a little hard to believe that just 3 days of rain increased the pollution to such an extent that an event had to be delayed. Then it makes me think, was the river safe at all, even before the Games began? To think Paris did everything they could to prove the world otherwise, that the river was pristine pure. I'm not quite sure if Mayor Hidalgo understood the assignment correctly. The triathlon and swimming marathon requires the athletes to swim a fair distance, longer than that. I don't think watching these visuals, the river was quite ready for this. Apart from Paris and the organizers, not many thought Seine was anywhere good enough to conduct such events. Because look at what they were going up against. Public swimming had been banned in the river for over a century. It wasn't until 2015 that the city started making it suitable for swimmers. These efforts to clean the river cost over $1.5 billion. They constructed a basin to keep wastewater from flowing into the river, even renovated sewer infrastructure. But all of that has not been enough to ensure that things flow smoothly here at the Games. Close to 9 years now, and yet there are questions being raised on the safety of the river. So what options does Paris have now if the situation regarding River Seine's pollution levels do not improve? Now, you'd think shifting the venue is one option. It's too late for that, and currently there are no alternate options. So what then? Now, many reports say that the organizers are planning to make it a biathlon event, which is not even an Olympics event. No swimming, just cycling and running. Maybe Paris wants to continue their tradition of firsts. To cover up the Seine disaster, they're coming up with their own event. Now, that definitely puts a dampener to this, as triathlon in swimming is the most difficult part, the segment that truly tests the athlete. So removing that would be a huge blow to the event, the organizers, and the athletes, of course. Now, if that does end up happening, it's yet another embarrassment for Paris. They had 9 years to make this river swimmable, years to oversee the Clean River Seine project and plan ahead for a momentous games. Maybe alternate venues and arrangements could have been thought of in advance. They needn't have clung on to the River Seine for nostalgic and made sure events went on without a hitch, just like some of the water sports events like surfing taking place in Tahiti. The football matches being organized in other cities beyond Paris. Whatever happens here on, Paris will be hoping that it is somehow able to save face and doesn't end up drowning in their own grand plans.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
On this today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon fans moved across to the West Indies. What can you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Aaron Ham, coming to you live from the nation's capital,